Hello everybody, welcome you to the Charlotte Motor Speedway as we're getting ready to go green for the 2015 Sprint Showdown to see which two drivers will advance to the $1 million race tomorrow night. Also, at the end of the night, we will be announcing the Sprint fan vote winner, but first we have to find out who will be the two drivers who will be advancing first. Clint Bowyer and Paul Minardi front row. They will lead the field down to the green flag. 28 drivers are in this race, but only 3 will advance at the end of the night. On row 2, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. in the 17 and Kyle Larson in the 42 are lined up on row 2. And enough of the talking. Let's get you down trackside and show you your starting grid for today's Sprint Showdown at Charlotte. Alright, we're coming down to the green flag. Clint Bowyer and Paul Minardi gets us underway. We're underway at Charlotte. And Paul Minardi gets a pretty good jump there on the outside, but Bowyer drives that Toyota down into turn 1. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. pushed him into turn 1. Bowyer slides high, opens up the door for Stenhouse in the 17 to look to the inside. Austin Dillon and David Reagan, two drivers trying to advance to the Sprint All-Star race. David Reagan almost won at Talladega earlier this year. That's why he is in this race. Was not able to get it done. Bowyer leads lap number 1. Austin Dillon to the inside of Stenhouse. 3 wide for second place. Minardi almost up in the outside wall. Can Stenhouse get a run on the outside of Dillon? Reagan now to the inside of Austin Dillon. That will make it 3 wide for second place once again. But Reagan has Truex Jr. pushing him. Dillon now in the middle, but he's able to clear David Reagan. Stenhouse trying to get a run off turn 4. Bowyer pulling away in the 15, but not by much. On second place, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. Both Bowyer and Stenhouse has been able to advance to the Sprint All-Star race because of this race a couple of times in their career. And Dillon still fighting on the inside of Ricky Stenhouse. A 15, the 17, and a 42, and the 27 were the 4 guys who were very quick in practice. They were the top 4 in both practices here. Right now, Dillon looks like he'll lose third spot to his teammate Paul Minardi. Now, David Reagan in the 66. We have the 3, the 27, and the 78. Those are kind of like teammates because Front Row Racing has a little alliance with Richard Childress Racing. So they're kind of like teammates, and then you add the Toyota of David Reagan. And the 3 wide once again. Minardi on the outside, and Dillon in the middle. Reagan trying to find any grip he can on the inside. Nearly goes through the grass. And now Martin Truex Jr. looking on the inside of David Reagan. You got to be careful because remember there are no cautions in this race. That yellow flag will not be thrown in tonight's race in the Sprint Showdown. So it's going to be 40 green flag laps. And Martin Truex to the inside of Reagan. Reagan and Dillon clear Minardi, and now Kyle Larson right now running in 7th place. Started 4th. He has lost 3 spots in the first 6 laps. Sam Hornets Jr., Casey Mears, and Justin Allgaier. They make up the top 10. Ryan Blaney, Trevor Bayne, Brian Scott, Chase Elliott, and Michael McDowell. That is your top 15. And then Bowman, Annette, David Gilliland, Brett Moffitt, and Cole Witt. Top 20, then 3 BK Racing Toyotas of J.J. Yaley, Jed Burton, Matty Benedetto, Lanny Castle, Josh Wise, Travis Quapple, Brendan Gaughan, and Joey Gase. And side by side for the lead, up ahead, Stenhouse on the inside of Clint Bowyer. Things stand right now, Bowyer and Stenhouse would advance. And they have to advance by finishing top 2 because neither one of these 2 drivers are inside the top 5 in the Sprint fan vote. In fact, the 5 drivers that are in the Sprint fan vote, top 5, in no particular order would be Martin Truex, Matty Benedetto, Landon Castle, Kyle Larson, and Chase Elliott. So those guys could rely on the Sprint fan votes. But everybody else has to drive hard in this race. There will also be a pit stop around lap 20. And Bowyer and Stenhouse has put a about almost a second lead on third place Austin Dillon. Things have pretty much gotten calm though from Dillon on back. David Reagan, Martin Truex, and Paul Menard. Then Kyle Larson, Hornis, Mears, and Allgaier. And right outside the top 10 is Ryan Blaney in the 21. What a big weekend it was at Iowa for this young driver Ryan Blaney, a rookie in the Cup Series. Won his third career race in the NASCAR Xfinity Series 1 week ago, winning the pole and winning the race all in the same weekend. Battle for third now, David Reagan on the inside of Austin Dillon. That's probably going to allow the 17 and the 15 to pull away, and that's also probably going to help the 78 close in for third. Dillon slides high, Reagan on the inside, but looks like Dillon is able to get the run on the outside. We're seeing that the outside seems to be very more stable down in turn 3 and 4 than it is up in off turn 2. Stenhouse right there on the back bumper. Looks like he is having. Looks like the 17 might be a little tight as he's can't keep that car on the inside on the bottom. See the 17 kind of drifts high right behind the 15. It might be because he's right on the rear end of the 15 and taking all that air off the nose of the fast enough forward. Stenhouse running a kind of a special scheme this weekend. Well, he will also run the scheme in next weekend's Coca-Cola 600. Two guys also trying to learn something from this weekend and maybe transfer over to the Cup race next weekend, because these are two guys who are pretty much in a must-win situation because they are pretty down there in the points. Clint Bowyer and Ricky Stenhouse Jr. And so is Austin Dillon. Dillon, he is 30th in points. David Reagan's like 26 and Martin Truex is like 19. Paul Menard, Larson, Mears, Hornis, and Allgaier, he's now on the inside of Sam Hornis Jr. Now Hornis blocks Allgaier. Now Hornis is the inside of Casey Mears. Jermaine Racing, one of those hints, has been getting very more racier in the NASCAR Spring Up Series. They're getting a lot more funded and they're having a lot more good runs, as they kind of started off as a start and park team with Max Pappas and a few other drivers. Not far ahead of our leaders, Clint Bowyer is going to be lap cars of Joey Gase, Travis Quapple, Brendan Gaughan, Josh Wise. This is the first time Team Extreme Racing, this 44 team is actually in a race since the Daytona 500 with Reed Sorensen. They've failed to qualify in the other races they have attempted, and they have not attempted every race so far this season. Right behind Brendan Gaughan, who's missed a lot of races this year for Premium Motorsports, and Josh Wise, the 98, he has as well. Martin Truex on the inside of David Reagan. We've seen that's really hard to pass because you see guys fighting to the inside, but that seems like we get loose, and then the guy on the outside can keep that momentum wound up, and they are able to stay out in front of the car behind them. We just saw that with David Reagan holding off Martin Truex for another lap. And out front, Stenhouse back to the inside of Clint Bowyer, and there's the 32 of Joey Gase. The Go Fast Racing Ford of Joey Gase, the first car to go a lap down, and here comes Stenhouse to the inside. Boy, Stenhouse uses Joey Gase as a pit. And Stenhouse will take the lead away from the 15 of Clint Bowyer. Bowyer led the first 15 laps of the race, but it gets held up behind the 32 of Gase. Now Bowyer and Stenhouse caught behind the 44 and the 98. That's Josh Wise and Travis Quapple. Stenhouse goes through the middle. They're 4 wide, trying to get around the lap car. Stenhouse and Bowyer threading the needle. Puts Wise in the middle. Here comes Stenhouse. He drives away on the outside. Now Bowyer, Austin Dillon, David Reagan, they're all stuck in behind the 62 of Brendan Gaughan. They gotta be careful, and they come off turn 4. Wise and Gaughan makes contact, and Gaughan's up in the outside wall. Collects Quapple and Gase. Oh, Quapple comes back up the track. Oh, Mears gets by Blaney, though doesn't. Ryan Blaney in the rear end of the 44, Travis Quapple. The 4 drivers who went a lap down on lap number 16 were all involved in that little skirmish right there, and they have taken out the 21 of Ryan Blaney, and he is slow off turn 2 on the apron. And there you see at the top of your screen the 32 Joey Gase, a lot of front end damage on that Go Fast Racing machine. There's Josh Wise in the 98. Bringing that car in pit road. There's Gase, Blaney. There's a 62 of Brendan Gaughan. Just trying to see if there's any way they can make it into the big race. And bad news for Joey Gase, Gaughan, Wise, Quapple, and Ryan Blaney. None of those 5 drivers can rely on the sprint fan votes. So it looks like their chances at $1 million are gone. And Gaughan drives into his pit stall, and he has been transported to the garage. Tough break for Brendan Gaughan. While all of that mess was going on, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. is now your leader, and he has a pretty good lead on second place Clint Bowyer. In fact, it's a 1.4 second lead on Clint Bowyer. Austin Dillon's 2.0 seconds behind. David Reagan's 2.4 and Martin Truex 2.7. But now, we do have another pit stop though. We have a pit stop coming up in about maybe 10 laps, maybe less. Should be around 5 laps. So, because Austin Dillon, David Reagan, Martin Truex, and Paul Menard are still right here with Clint Bowyer, it is still anybody's race right here. Although Bowyer ran a little quicker time than Austin Dillon, but Reagan was quicker. Actually, Paul Menard was the quickest one out of these guys up here. So, a bad pit stop by Clint Bowyer and a great stop by Austin Dillon could really change things up. And let's not forget Stenhouse. Something could happen in the 17 as he brings his car down pit road. And the top 6 all come down pit road, and that will hand the lead over to Kyle Larson. So Kyle Larson is now your leader as he stays out an extra lap, and everybody else comes down pit road. There's Josh Wise, he stays out, but he's already been on pit road. Chase Elliott in the 25, Ricky Stenhouse, Casey Mears, Paul Menard. Brian Scott pulls into his pit stall, Justin Allgaier's in, and Stenhouse is off pit road. Can David Reagan beat Clint Bowyer out of pit road? No, but Reagan he's right there on Clint Bowyer though. So can Reagan chase down his teammate Bowyer and knock him out of the All-Star race? Austin Dillon, 4th off pit road. Paul Menard 5th. Martin Truex Jr. the biggest loser of the top 6 on pit road. "27 cars are still running, and Ricky Stenhouse Jr. looks like he will move back up into the race lead once his pit cycle goes all the way. There's Larson, he's coming off pit road, and he's already been passed by the 17 and now the 15. And Reagan, look at him, he's right there in the left rear corner panel, right on the inside of his teammate Clint Bowyer. Trying to make the $1 million race for their team. Now they have a lot more slower cars up ahead. There's Jeb Burton, the rookie, in the 26. Landon Castle up ahead in the 40. Bowyer Reagan goes to the outside of both cars. They'll be fine. But they still have a big gap to close on Ricky Stenhouse Jr. And he just went on the inside of Michael Annett and on the outside of Brett Moffitt. Stenhouse has a 3.2 second lead. So that's 17. That's really stretched his lead on Clint Bowyer. Next up to put him a lap down, or to be a lap down, would be the 7 of Alex Bowman. Bowman the showman, is 16th. Right now, 16th on the scoring pylon right now, and now Stenhouse to the inside of Bowman. And right now, Stenhouse has been able to put now Bowman, Moffitt, Michael Annett, and J.J. Yaley between Stenhouse and Clint Bowyer. And David Reagan has driven away from 4th place Austin Dillon. Here's Paul Menard now to the inside of Landon Castle, and Martin Truex is falling back. One of the drivers who could be in that sprint fan vote, or could win the sprint fan vote if he was in the top 5. Annett to the inside of Brett Moffitt. Now David Gillen going to lap down in the 38 car. 15 laps remaining. The Sprint All-Stars are in the Sprint Showdown. There's Michael McDowell up ahead in the 95. Joey Gase, Travis Quapple, Ryan Scott. And there's Boyer back here racing with Michael Annett, Moffitt, and Yaley, trying to close the gap between himself and Stenhouse and trying to pull away from David Reagan. It's now still 3.1 seconds. We'll see if Stenhouse was able to gap Boyer after Boyer had to settle with all that traffic with Moffitt, Annett. Now they're going to catch the 7 of Alex Bowman. 12 laps remaining. Last time by, it's now 2.9 seconds, so actually the 15 has been catching the 17. And Boyer was about 2/10 quicker than Stenhouse, and Stenhouse is in clean air, no traffic, and Boyer was in that whole mess back here with Moffitt and Annett. David Reagan was actually even quicker than the top 2. They catch the slower 38 of David Gillen to go by. 10 or 11 laps remaining at Charlotte. Like we said right after this, the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series, North Carolina Education Lottery 250, coming up right after this race. Race number 5 of the Truck Series. Can Timothy Peters go back-to-back wins? Won at Kansas last weekend. Can he do it? Can he do it again this weekend? And now Stenhouse is caught behind McDowell and Joey Gase. 2.5 seconds separates the top 2. Stenhouse drives by Joey Gase. Now he's stuck in behind the 95 of Michael McDowell. He drives to the inside of the 95. On the inside of the Levine Family Racing Ford, he'll put McDowell 1 lap down with 8 to go from Charlotte. Now we got Josh Wise, Ryan Blaney, Travis Quapple up ahead of the 17, so the 17's not done lap traffic yet. At least we don't think. And the 21 is very slow. I mean, he's slower than he's the slowest car on the racetrack after that damage. Blaney, he actually ran into that 44 Travis Quapple there when they were getting lapped by Clint Boyer. It's been now put, the gap's now been put down to 1.8 seconds. So Clint Boyer chasing Ricky Stenhouse Jr. down, and David Reagan has actually been losing time. Look at the gap Boyer has now on his teammate David Reagan. Paul Menard and Austin Dillon now battling for 4th place. Menard has it, but Dillon wants it, and Dillon goes to the inside of Menard off turn 4. Austin Dillon uses David Gillen as a pick to get by his teammate Paul Menard. 7 to go from Charlotte. And Stenhouse stuck in behind the 98 of Weiss, nearly turns him off turn 2. Look at Boyer with the run. Clint Boyer coming strong in the 15 car. He drives to the back bumper of the 17 of Stenhouse. He looks to the inside. They're side by side for the lead. The best racing we've seen tonight has been right here with the 2 leaders, Clint Boyer and Stenhouse. Where will Quapple go? Quapple leaves the inside line open, but he leaves the outside line open as well. Stenhouse rim running in turn 1 and 2. He still has a run on the outside of Clint Boyer. And Boyer jogs it down in there hard in turn 3, but Stenhouse has to run on the outside. They're side by side, door to door as they battle for the lead. You think these 2 guys would actually maybe settle it a little bit, because right now these 2 guys would advance to the big $1 million race. But they still want to get that extra paycheck of winning the race and having the bragging rights. Can Reagan do anything to chase down his teammate Clint Boyer or the 17 of Ricky Stenhouse Jr.? Ricky and Boyer trying to join their teammates Greg Biffle and Brian Vickers in the Sprint All-Star race. 4 laps away now. Austin Dillon has been able to get around Paul Menard. That is 4th place. Menard 5th. Martin Truex Jr. 6th. Then Kyle Larson 7th. Sam Hornis Jr., Casey Mears, and Justin Allgaier. Looking at the top 10 right now, these guys have really been setting a pace. Kyle Larson is 7th right now, 13 seconds behind leader Ricky Stenhouse. They don't really have no lap traffic ahead. The next guy they will catch would be Stenhouse's teammate Trevor Bain, who is 13th, Chase Elliott, Matthew Benedetto, and Brian Scott. There'll be 2 to go. This time by for Ricky Stenhouse Jr. Trying to hang on and get the win. Boyer just trying to coast from here. David Riggin driving as hard as he has ever had in his Cup Series career. Riggin seeing $1 million on the back bumper of the 15 of Boyer, driving away ever so slightly each lap. This would be Ricky Stenhouse Jr.'s second career Sprint All-Star race, as he was able to advance in his rookie year back in 2013. Boyer did it last year. Looks like he's going to do the same this year. White flag is out. 1 lap to go for Stenhouse and Boyer. Reagan slower than the top 2 last time by. He's now 1.1 second behind. Down the back straightaway, no lap traffic ahead. It's all a clean track from here. 2 drivers who really needs to bounce back as they are far down in the championship standings. Come out of turn 4, and Ricky Stenhouse Jr. and Clint Boyer advances to the Sprint All-Star race this weekend at Charlotte, and they will run for $1 million tomorrow night. The other 18 eligible drivers. And also, this year's the 2015 NASCAR Sprint Cup Series Sprint Fan Vote winner. It is the number 42 of Kyle Larson. Kyle Larson has won this year's Sprint Fan Vote with a pretty good gap on Chase Elliott in the voting. So Kyle Larson, the other driver who will be heading in tomorrow's Sprint Cup Series All-Star race, and he will also join his teammate Jamie McMurray and run for $1 million. Chip Ganassi Racing trying to go back-to-back wins in this race, as McMurray won it last year. That is all this week. That is all here for the Sprint Showdown. Congrats to Ricky Stenhouse Jr., Clint Boyer, and Kyle Larson, as they are the winners of the Sprint Showdown and the Sprint Fan Votes. So we'll see you later on tonight for the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series race in Charlotte, race number 5 of 2015. Until next time, congrats to Boyer, Stenhouse, and Larson, as they will be advancing tomorrow night. Goodbye, everyone.